Thank you for visiting Past the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PastTheWire.com.
Okay, we are here at the Kentucky Derby. Big Race Gym on the grounds, on the rail, track in the background, sloppy track in the background.
Yep.
First race on Oak Day has been run. Wire to wire winner. Words of wisdom to start the weekend. I've got some.
Go ahead. Yeah. Just a quick update here. Tractors are going through. I mean, we saw in that first race that four, won by 10 lengths and looked to be, pretty much in control throughout. So, like they always say, a wet track, typically tends to favor those in the front, I think. So we saw that on display here in the first.
I agree, but I will tell you this: the board kind of screamed bet the four. He got bet right into the Brad Cox horse, wire to wire. A lot of people make the mistake of jumping on the track bias bandwagon early. We saw one race, we saw a horse that the board was screaming to bet on, win wire to wire, run off in a slop. I wouldn't get too carried away. But the caution really becomes for tomorrow because as handicappers, you're now faced with one of the toughest intangibles in the game, a drying out track tomorrow. Sun should be out, track's going to dry out. Maybe there's a bias, maybe there isn't, but the track as the day progresses will change. So how it's playing for the first couple of races is not necessarily going to be how it's playing, and we're talking about the main track for the later races. And by the Derby, it may be completely different than how it was playing for the early dirt races. So I wouldn't get too caught up in the track bias situation. I would kind of watch, adjust, and see how things play out. Thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think people tend to get kind of carried away with track biases after a race or two. I mean that like you said, that the board was telling you to bet that four. Certainly a logical contender, a logical winner in there, which is another key factor that I think people don't really factor in when they're thinking about track biases. That horse was legitimate, so I don't know that we can necessarily glean too much from that just after the first race here. But like you said, just keep your eye on it as it plays out throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, and I guarantee there are people out there saying, track's favoring speed. You got to be on the lead. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't know that yet. Okay.
Right.
Long way to go before we could say that we need to be on the lead. The other thing I will say is, or really ask, do we know anything about staying on the grass, coming off the grass, or what they're going to do with any of the races?
So as far as I know, I think it's just that one non-stakes race that was on the grass today that's come off. All the stakes races, as far as I heard last a little while ago this morning, are still on the turf, which we'll see. Just kind of talking around the barns the last couple of days. Still some concerns with the turf course here. It hasn't had a lot of action over it. A couple races yesterday, but with as much rain, I think we got close to half an inch of rain overnight and a little bit this morning, and then I'm pretty sure some more is on the way. So it'll be interesting to see what the turf course can handle today, and then certainly after today what it's able to handle tomorrow. But I'd be surprised if the stakes races came off the turf at any point.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. The turf is probably listed as good right now. Can we expect a good course, tomorrow? Not quite yielding, but good. Just with a moderate amount of give to it.
Yeah, we'll see. I think the rain's supposed to be done right around Oaks time, maybe just after. And there really isn't a strong chance of rain after that all throughout the day tomorrow. And, the biggest day of racing in the U.S. I imagine they're going to do whatever they need to do to make sure that we've got it fast and firm for tomorrow.
Yeah, well, Churchill Downs does, the main track does dry out, pretty good. They're about as good at that as anybody in the game, and that track handles water just about better than any track in the game. Another little tidbit for people to pay attention to: the California horses shipping in, they're not as used to some of the other horses, to courses that have some give in it. So you may want to, pay attention to that. The horses that run on the East Coast, or the Louisiana, and even the Florida horses, and Kentucky horses, they're used to it. The European horses are certainly used to it, and I've noticed that even horses from Europe that they send over here because they want to get them on the firm courses, they still run well on the courses that have given it. So I would pay attention to that, and that might be a little bit of a disadvantage for the California horses that are shipping in, and there's quite a few of them over the 2 cards that we've got coming up. The big one. I'll talk a little bit about the big one. I don't know your up to the minute thoughts, but I'm going to share some thoughts on why I think Fierceness is vulnerable. He's going to be the favorite. Going to be the favorite. A lot of hype. People are of the opinion that he's the best horse in the race. I don't necessarily agree with that. He might have run the fastest race to date, but that doesn't make him the best horse in the race. I personally think that regardless of the outcome of the Derby, right now Sierra Leone is the best horse in the race. But the best horse doesn't always win. Now, here's my concerns about Fierceness, and I've been pretty vocal about it. I think that Johnny will probably not gun for the lead, and I think that's going to hurt his chances. I think if he clears the field, everything I'm about to say is out the window. And if I was Todd Pletcher, which I'm not, or I was Mike Rapoli, which I'm not, I would say, Johnny, you've got speed, clear the field from the outside, get over to the rail, and try and run them off their heels. And that is your best shot to win. And if we quit, we quit. I don't think they're going to do that. And if they're listening to this and they want to pay attention, they should do, but they won't. So what I think he's going to do is I think he's going to get cute. He's going to stalk, thinking he can sit third or fourth. And I think that that's going to take him a little bit wide into the first turn, maybe a little bit wide into the second turn. I project a fast pace. So now I've got a wide horse as the favorite in a fast pace, losing a little bit of ground. When he goes to make his move and pass those horses, I think he's going to be met with at least a little bit of resistance. So he's going to have to use them to get clear. Can he get clear enough to put distance between him and the closers and the stalkers to hold on? I personally don't think so. I think he's set up to finish like a soup sandwich, unless he clears. So I think the Derby is going to buck some trends this year. And I know Rich Strike won from off the pace last year, but I'm looking at the Derby as a race that's probably going to set up for a closer or a stalker. And I'm looking for somebody coming late to get all the money.
Yeah, and I think speaking with Danny Gargan in the barn area this morning, what he told me is that Dornoch is going out. He's going right out to the front. And he said, verbatim, he'd be shocked if anybody was faster than Dornoch early in the race. So it sounds like they're just going to send from the one hole and see how fast they can go early on. And I think to your point, that might mean that Fierceness has to be in third, fourth, fifth, sixth place going around that first turn. So
yeah, I mean, so much could happen. I mean, Dornoch, might not break. Somebody might not
Sure.
break. you know, all of those things play into consideration. And to call a race the way I just called it is probably 1,000,000 to 1 that it pans that way, because there's so much that can you know can happen, and we know that. But you have to be decisive. You have to make decisions. Yeah, you have to back your opinion, and that's kind of how I see Fierceness's race unfolding.
Yeah,
And it's not really a knock on Fierceness. This is just how I see this particular race unfolding, and I don't think it sets up, as well for him as a lot of people do. And I saw at one point yesterday in the early wagering, he was like 4-5.
yeah. Yeah, I looked a little earlier and he was 5-2.
Yeah,
Last I checked, about an hour ago, and I want to say Sierra Leone might have even been, 3-1 or even 5-1. But of course, that's all going to change. There's going to be millions and millions of more dollars coming in, over the next 36 hours or so, whatever it is, a little less than
right.
that, I guess. But yeah, I'm with you. I think the race sets up for somebody mid pack to, or even a little bit further back to come and get it, which would certainly serve Sierra Leone well. Catching Freedom, I was also interested in, and Honor Marie too. Though, I think he's going to come way down off that 20-1 or 25-1 morning line, I think. But a lot of my tickets will be built around Sierra Leone and catching Freedom to make that one big run around the far turn here and get up and get it, I think.
Well, horses humble everybody, and I'm not afraid to be humbled by him. So, when you put a gun to my head and you say, "Do you want to bet a freight train or do you want to bet a soup sandwich in the Kentucky Derby?" I'm betting on a freight train. So, that, I'll go with the locomotive every time, win, lose, or draw. A couple of other horses I think are very dangerous at big prices. I think Endlessly is quietly, sneakily under the radar in this race, and I think that horse can finish. Uh, Grass horses typically run well over the Churchill Downs main track. I know they've changed the makeup of the track recently. I don't expect that particular angle to change very much. So I do think that, Endlessly is an under the radar, very sneaky closer that had a nice turn of foot in both his last races. And if you notice something over the past couple of weeks, the horses coming off Turfway Park, off the synthetic racetracks, have been running extremely well wherever they go. Turf, dirt, doesn't seem to matter. They're coming off that track and running very, very well. And as far as the workouts with Endlessly that have been, publicly knocked by some people, I spoke with Umberto Rispoli the other day, and he told me the horse has never really been a great workhorse on the dirt anyway. So I don't think we should be too concerned with that. The other horse that's really on my radar is Stronghold. I think
Yeah.
Stronghold's another one that's kind of forgotten. Uh, Impressive in the Sunland Derby. Impressive in the Santa Anita Derby. Very, very game. Knows how to win a fight. And I think he kind of sits in the right spot on Saturday. I think he's in front of the deep closers and just off the speed to capitalize off a fast pace and make his present self make his present felt at some point. They might even be able to close the deal. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I really like Stronghold. I've really liked him throughout the entire road to the Kentucky Derby. So would be cool to see him get up and win. And I think it would be a little bit foolish not to include him on a variety of different tickets tomorrow for sure.
yeah, and we love Antonio. He's been on the show. Friend that passed the wire, so it'd be great to see him win his first Derby. Hopefully, he'll be riding in many more. Uh, okay, I think you can get back to enjoying the day out there. Big Race Jim on the grounds, Churchill Downs, Kentucky Oaks Day. Big Race, Kentucky Derby. He'll be there. Uh, the Belmont at Saratoga, we know he'll be there. Breeders' Cup, he'll be. There's a big race. Big Race Jim will be there. I'm here in Florida. The weather is great. It's not raining. Uh, Probably watch the race from the lounge chair in the pool. So it's all
Nice.
good.
Yeah, a little drizzle just passed through, but it's a little bit windy, kind of cool but comfortable. And like I said earlier, a little bit more rain is expected as we get into the afternoon. So keep an eye on those track conditions and good luck.
All right. We'll close out with a couple of quick words from Danny Gargan this morning, and enjoy Oaks Day, everybody. Ciao, ciao.
We're going to come out there running. We'd like to be on the lead. So, if somebody goes faster than us, I'll be shocked. But we'll just sit the trip then. But we definitely want to come out there running. Churchill dries out fast. That's the way it's been for years. So if it stops raining and later, midway through the day, the last race might be fast here. You never know. Churchill they do a good job. They keep it tight and they seal it down, and if the sun pops out, the track will be fast tomorrow.
Well, there you have it. If Danny's right, there's a better chance that I'm right about fierceness. So we'll see what happens. Okay, everybody. Ciao, ciao.
Thanks, John.
Bye.
Tracking trips with Pick Six King John Stetton. It's one of the best tools in horse racing for any level of player. It's your second set of eyes, spotting troubled trips, betting angles, track trends, horses to watch and favorites to fade, 10 figs, ticket structure, and more. At Tracking Trips, you're a friend with benefits. Not a member? You must hate winning money. Join Tracking Trips now. Visit pastthewire.com and we'll see you in the winner's circle. Remember, nobody does it better.
Nobody does it better.